And over and over again, the prophetic word came about the 10 spies and the 2 spies.
Yes.
And you better have that spirit of the 2 spies, because they're the ones who are going to go up and actually cross in and possess the land. So I'm right with you on this. So keep going.
That's exactly right. And as a side note to that, that's why I think we about drove our tour company nuts, insisting that we were going to go to Hebron this year for our tour. But we want to go to the land that Caleb said, "Give me my mountain."
Come on.
I don't, I know it's not the easiest place to get to, but I feel it that strongly that we really are making it a priority this year to get to Hebron on our trip. But we're in this crossing over season. I believe from one era into another, we're crossing over into a new decade. Yeah. And Hebraically, one of the things we've been looking at is how the Hebrew years speak in terms of what the different numbers and letters and those kinds of things. And so we're actually shifting from a decade of the eye and seeing to a decade of the mouth. Yeah. And releasing the sound.
Come on.
And that's why I think what God's doing with groups like ours, and I'm talking about you guys and Teo and Jose and Dana and all these groups you're talking about, the Judah company, if you will, in the earth. God is shifting us in, and we really are crossing over into something that we have not been this way before. And I really believe that, and again, that's why we've oriented our trip, our tour we're going to arrive on Rosh Hashanah. We're going to arrive right on the day of crossover, and we're going to carry, our tour will go right through the 10 days of awe. And so we're carrying this, this new season, this new decade that we're coming into, and this crossing over moment. We're carrying this very literally as we go through the land of Israel. And I believe we're receiving something as we're there to take to the nations of the earth. And I'm excited to hear, that Brazil is represented so powerfully. And, I think all these nations there's going to be something very tangible that I believe the Lord is going to impart to those of us who are there. But I believe we're a spearhead, if you will, or a forerunning company for what God's releasing in the earth in this hour. And I do believe it's different than what we've seen before. And it's going to take a boldness that we've not had before. And it is that kind of, can-do attitude that, to not back down. And there's giants in the land, but, give me my mountain. And there's one mountain in particular, I think, that we all have in mind when we say that sort of thing, right? So, but I believe that's where we're at. And so I believe, these next couple of days as we cross over into the new year, and then as we move into, there's an aligning. It's just interesting in the natural. I just think it prophesies, right? There's an aligning of this 5780 Hebrew year that's moving us into a decade of the mouth and out of the season of the eye, and the aligning of 2020, where our vision has been restored and we're able to see, what God's doing, and now begin to release the sound of the Lord over these things that the
now,
Lord
Jamie,
shows.
Here's the thing that blew me away about this the other night. And my screen just froze there for a couple seconds, so I hope we're all good here now. Hey, hello, Virginia. Hello, Florida. We got folks from everywhere. So, Jamie, we had on the program here 4 nights ago, Susan Michael. Susan is the director of the International Christian Embassy here in America. That's the organization that launched in response to Zechariah's prophecy about the Feast of Tabernacles being restored. That's the ministry that launched the modern celebration of the Feast of Tabernacles, and has brought literally tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of Christians.
Wow.
And Susan was at the first one. With Derek Prince and Mervyn Merlo-Watson and these amazing giants who just paved the way. And I said, Susan, tell us what that was like. Did you guys have any concept? You're just starting this thing out, etc. And almost as a throwaway comment, she said, well, you know what? It's interesting. She said the year was 1980. So next year will be 40 years.
Wow.
And I thought, what? What? So 5780 and 2020 is the 40th year of the restoration of Christians beginning to now, in a first fruits capacity, align themselves with Zechariah's prophecy to come up and worship the Lord in Jerusalem.
Come on.
I mean, the alignment of this stuff is just off the page.
Yeah.
And so it's really, and then just on a little side note, for the folks who track with me personally really closely, I was in Coudersport last weekend, and many of you know that's where my first real anointing came on me through Dr. David Miner in the tribe in Coudersport. And I was there for their conference, and they said, oh yeah, this is our 39th year. Next year's our 40th year that we dug the well of this. And I'm like, what happened 40 years ago? We crossed through something 40 years ago, and apparently we're now about to cross, right? A generation died out.
Come on.
The spirit of Caleb and Joshua, after that 40 years, said it's time to go up and possess that the Lord has promised us. And that is this moment that we're in.